What's up, guys? Matty here, mixandmastermysong.com. Today we're going to be checking out some new plugins from this company named Pulsar Audio. They are a fairly new plugin company. They sent me some of their stuff to check out, and I've actually been using quite a few of their plugins on a lot of mixes I've been doing recently. So wanted to show you guys the different plugs they got, and then you can check them out on your own and see if it's something you're into. So let's get started. All right, guys, so this is a song by this great artist I've been working with named Rhea, and this is her song called Overdose, and I will put a link to it in the Spotify link to it in the notes and below. I mixed and mastered it, and I've been working with her a lot, and she is super dope. So that being said, let's get into the plugins. The first one is this one, and it's a really simple plugin. It's basically, a 1176 clone, and all it's used for is, as the name is, the Pulsar Smasher, is to smash or parallel compress your signal. So in this song, I actually used it a bit on the verse section, and as you can see, I'll play it on and off. And so what I did essentially is I'm compressing it about 10 to 20 dB. And then I just mixed it in. So you have your mix knob, so your input, output, and your mix knob. And I have it at about 50%. And let you guys hear it really quick. I'll play it without it, and then I'll play a section with it. Let's get this little loop going here.
We met in the west side, I went to your room. Now you're overthinking. We met in the west side, I went to your room. Now you're overthinking. We met in the west side, I went to your room. Now you're overthinking. We met in the west side, I went to your room. Now you're overthinking. We met in the west side, I went to your room. Now you.
So you can hear the difference. It's automatic vocal pulls forward, right? So that's essentially what it does. You can use it for other things, drums. I don't parallel compress drums all that much, but you can use it for drums, you can use it for bass, anything you want. And like I always use parallel compression to just bring things forward. And so for that verse, for this verse, that's what I wanted to do. So that's that. The next plugin is my favorite plugin by them, and it's the one I use the most. And it is the Echo Rec. Now, if you guys don't know, the Echo Rec is a relatively famous old delay unit, and it's been sought after. And another company actually made this, and I did actually review it, and I really liked theirs. However, I do like Pulsar's better for one major reason is this thing, if you're not super old and didn't grow up using this, is a little hard to understand how to use. And so they have these pop-up windows, balloons or whatever you want to call them, that stay there whenever you switch to them, and you can remind yourself because the feedback's not completely feedback. It is, but it swells back in depending on which mode you're on, right? So it's switched. What the things do is a little different than a normal conventional delay that a lot of us have grown up with, as computer age engineers, if you want to call it. So with that being said, I really like that. And then I love that it has this really quick way to switch from free to host, and just makes it easy. So let's go through the knobs really quick, and then I'll show you a couple examples of how I was using it. So obviously you have your mix, which is wet or dry. That's pretty straightforward. Feedback. Now the feedback knob sets the amount of repetitions, right? But note that this only works in rip and swell mode, which is over here, right? So it has no effect in echo mode, okay? So that's one thing to know if you're switching that. And that's why I like the balloons with this thing, because it's a little complicated and it really helps to kind of explain it. Now the delays knob is to choose the combination of playback heads, okay? I'm just going to run through this quick because you guys can all demo this stuff. Drive knob, which is a really cool part of this plugin, is a saturation due to tube amplification, and it is one of the cooler parts of this plugin for me. There's 3 different echo modes, and like I said, you guys can check this out on your own. The volume knob, self-explanatory. Tone, self-explanatory. these are the different kinds of characteristics, and these are really cool too to play with. I like to use the used one and the good one a lot. Mint's cool, but usually when I'm grabbing this thing, I'm looking for some sort of color or effect. Stereo drift, which is actually a really cool feature to have, especially if you're using it like I am, which is more for effects and stuff. You can pan it and have it drift certain ways. Lastly, the disc speed, which is quarter note, half note, all that stuff. So real quick and dirty run through of the plugin. Now let me show you a couple ways to use this fabulous plug. Now for this song, I used it just right here. So I don't know if you guys can tell, I throw my delay through. I have some of this stuff closed because just to save space, but I use this right here just to echo it out. This last word I dragged up here and it echoes out into the hook. Very floaty, you didn't barely hear it, but it's there, and it adds just a little lift with that gap. I like to always fill in gaps with something exciting. So this is where it really is cool though, if you need it for an effect. So we're going to play this little vocal line here, and then I'm going to show you some of these presets that come with it that are really cool, really creative, and can change the energy of a song like that.
We met in the west side, I went to your room, now you're overthinking. We met in the west side, I went to your room, now you're overthinking. We met in the west side, I went to your room, now you're overthinking.
How freaking cool is that sound right there? So it gives you a little bit of doubling, and you can also use it as a distortion box. This vocal doubler is really good too. Check this out.
We met in the west side, I went to your room, now you. We met in the west side, I went to your room, now you. We met in the west side, I went to your room.
And you could double it, dial it back too.
We met in the west side, I went to your room, now you're overthinking.
And so that's cool. So you can use it just right on the track like we're using here, or you could create a send and return and just, do it 100% wet. So really creative plugin, really fun to use. I love this drive feature. As you can tell, like when we use that setting, the punky distortion, it just kind of changed the whole vibe of the song. And man, maybe I should have sent it to her with that because it's kind of cool, but who knows. Anyway, dope plugin, my favorite one out of the bunch. Lastly, is this one, where is it? The Pulsar Mute. Now, this is a vari-mu clone, right? Made famous by Manley, and there's hundreds of different actual hardware vari-mus out there, and there's hundreds of different plug-in vari-mus. So this isn't something I was super excited about. Only reason being is I don't really use mu compressors that much. They tend to, like for a stereo bus, to me at least, mess with the bass a little bit, and I don't compress that hard on the stereo bus anyway. But they're really good, in my personal opinion, for softer things, right? So I have been using this a little bit on my music stems. So I send a lot of my music stems to the Synthall or the Musicall, and then I can tweak them as needed. And so I had this on here a little bit, and it's cool because it has a mix knob too. Now, there's some features on here that are really, really cool that others don't. It has a side chain look ahead. It has a mix knob, which is super cool. And the coolest part is this. Now check it out. When I play it, and also play it with it on and off, you'll see it actually shows you the compression like the Fab Filter Pro C or something like that, which I really like that style of being able to visually see your compression.
In the west side, I went to your room, now you're overthinking.
So you can see all I'm really using it for is just to kind of catch peaks so the music part doesn't pop out over the vocal too much. And what it's doing is I have it on, so the channels aren't linked, because basically it's a left and right, it's a stereo signal, right? So they aren't linked. So you saw this one pop up, but this one didn't. Reason doing that is because the sound is actually panning. So if I compress stereo linked, if this one pops up, that's going to pop up, which doesn't necessarily need to happen. So I unlink them because I want that pan motion and I don't want it to be necessarily affected negatively by the compressor. So another cool plugin. Like I said, I haven't used this one as much as the other two, but very, very cool. And I bet the guys that do more softer music would love this one. Let me just play it with and without it so you can get the kind of, it does have a nice warm sound to it for sure. There it is. Yeah, I always think of thickness when I think of vari-mu, but a definitely cool plugin. So I hope you guys liked the review. Like I said, the Echo Rec is my favorite. That one's like I use on about every 5 mixes. I find some cool way to use that one, and the Smasher's good too. The vari-mu I'm still working on getting warmed up with, but like I said, I have the Manley UAD vari-mu, and I don't use that much either, so it's just not my kind of compressor, whatever. Let me know what you guys think of these in the comments below. If you're using any of them, how you're using them. I always want to learn too. If you need your songs mixed or mastered, hit me up at mixandmastermysong.com. You can also check out my presets and courses there as well. Talk to you soon.